When the 2007 tour ended, Phil Collins cried live on stage, while the audience was screaming as if they saw the Backstreet Boys or something. That audience had no respect, so it definitely felt like that couldn't be the ending. Later that year, this happened.
Was that the last Genesis tour? You were saying it was.
I won't give more context, but let's say that in the 13 years that passed, many rumors came and went, and somehow the job felt like it wasn't done. Now, after watching tons of shows from this latest tour on YouTube and doing videos about rumors and whatnot, I felt like I was ready to talk about this tour, so here we go. In the general sense, visually it looked better than anything I have seen in video concerts up to this point. Not that I watch many, but it seems to be the consensus on the best this tour had to offer, as well as the clear sound. Now looking outside in, the band is back together, but different. Phil just sings, so now we are back to one drummer, in this case Phil's son, plus two backing vocalists. So far this all seems good to me. One drummer has been the case for Classic Genesis and the Calling on the Stations tour, and backing vocals are also something that was a thing on Classic Genesis as well, so this is different from modern tours, yet similar to classic ones. Before going really into the tour, Genesis decided to reveal the setlist beforehand with a compilation, and it was very similar to 2007, only differences being No Cage, Duke's Travels, Hold On My Heart, Ripples and Los Endos, but instead we have the first section of Fading Lights, That's All Acoustic, a new version of The Lamb also acoustic, Duchess or Misunderstanding, If You Had Bad Luck, and the introduction to Dancing with the Moonlit Night. Overall, not the best deal. I mean, 3 high energy songs were replaced by low energy ones, and one of the most beautiful songs was replaced with another one of the most beautiful songs, Unless You Had Bad Luck. Anyways, nothing from A Trick of the Tail is a bummer, nothing pre-selling England also is, and it's a shame because everything pre-selling was celebrating its 50th year anniversary. But on the good side, 2 relatively rare songs got played again, Duchess and Fading Lights, as well as a new version of The Lamb that I wish had new lyrics as well. Now the real deal. I think that the core instrumental band was solid. They bounced from each other nicely. There were some mistakes that they corrected well, and the energy and precision was still there. About the new instrumental players, I really liked the backing vocalist that played on a small drum set. He was very classy at what moments he had to enter and played great with Nick. Meanwhile, Nick, of all the tour drummers, he's definitely the weakest. That's not necessarily a bad thing, I just felt that he could have added more. Briefly about the keyboard sounds, I liked some odd decisions like Mama, with a sound more similar to a pipe organ, and Domino sounding warmer than ever. Meanwhile, the old songs sounded more electric on the keyboards. Not sure I like that, but overall I think the sound was stronger than what I have heard from the 2007 tour, and that's good. Lastly, my biggest gripe with the tour, Phil Collins is still entertaining. He can still do some songs well, but overall he struggled. At times he didn't even sing, and I think that's a problem with the setlist, but I will get there. I know that Phil Collins is having a hard time. He lags behind and the band does so with him. He forgot lyrics in every show. Even the most perfect one has like 2 small mistakes, and to make matters worse, the backing vocalists weren't on sync with him. I know that it's hard to follow the unpredictable, but it sounded extremely weird. Overall, the instrumentals were the best of the show, and the singing was better when Phil was alone. He was more prepared for those, it seems. And I feel like the setlist should have accommodated itself for those strengths rather than playing it safe. They could have added a soft vocal song that does have backing vocals, and it's also slow, like Entangled. That would have been perfect. Or some other instrumental. This band is filled with them. It's interesting because they did consider more songs, like Apocalypse in 9/8, Jesus He Knows Me, The Musical Box and Abacab, along others that are featured on the album they released prior to the tour. All of those choices are different from the 2007 tour, hence more interesting than what we got, but they are high energy songs, so well. Finally, I'm glad that Genesis did this. The overall sound was great and new, showed that they still had what it gets to impress, to the point that they got nominated for Live Show of the Year. Yet, as a hardcore fan of 10 years, very junior I know, I think that this send-off could have been better. Yet I think their final goodbye was proper this time around, and with Peter watching as well. I just wish that they had a better setlist. There's nothing to do about that. Somehow, I feel like this is not the end. There's still stuff that they can do rather than doing live concerts, especially now in the digital age and with most of them still active. I'm happy with them doing whatever, even if it's not Genesis, but I don't know. I just have this feeling.
What else are we going to do in our lives? We don't do this. Do gardening?